real balancing act is the balance between hanging on and letting go, and giving up. So right in the middle there between giving up and hanging on, there's this point where you're engaging and you're still flowing into the center. And what happens is that at that moment, there, that's it. So you're able to come back onto the center and not go, oh no, like that. So when you lose it, that's better. That's gravitating back towards the center. So I had you trapped, and then you released it, you got yourself out, and then you immediately used that counter as a way to go to my center. So any technique that you use should end up with a better centripetal engagement, both for you and for me. So there's the trap.
Well, I could feel that.
Yeah.
I could feel that.
That's it. So when you feel trapped, your feet respond and you get out of the way. The challenge is to never feel trapped. So that, there, I'm not applying pressure. I can't apply pressure along that direction. I have to apply the pressure this way to do it, and it's already too late. If I apply forward pressure, I'm in a bad angle to do it. So then I have to go here. Now I have centripetal engagement. Now you go towards my center. Okay? So the change there was not about anything to do with the position of the arm, it's just the position of the mind. Okay? So here, you have distal pressure, I have distal pressure. So if you just move your mind, there, now I've lost all the pressure, I can't apply pressure. Now now we're equal, now I have the centripetal engagement. Right. And so as long as I have that centripetal engagement, I can walk forward.
Okay. Okay. So
and it's like a hot knife cutting through the fog.
Okay. So okay. So
that's it. And then once I started to move, then you went, aha, he's going that way, and you created that distal pressure. So you created something for me to resist against.
Okay.
So there you go, you're succeeding. Now keep maintaining that, that's it. Oh, there we go. Oh, there, tighten up, relax, there you go. So you have to continually adapt to maintain the centripetal engagement to avoid distal pressure. Often what happens is once the person starts to move, and you apply distal pressure, you think, there, I've got him, I'm moving him that way, I can feel which way I'm moving. Well, that feeling is resistance caused by your distal pressure. If you can avoid that feeling and continue the movement, and this is where it gets freaky because you can't feel it, right? There's no proprioceptive response, or no feedback.
Right.
So you're not getting that feedback when you're pushing me.
Right.
When you do the throw really well, you don't feel like you did anything to anybody, they just went flying across the room for no reason. So when you move forward, there you go, centripetal engagement, centripetal, that's it, keep going, keep going, keep going, that's it. There. So it's that constant change that allows you to continue going forward. As soon as you get attached to a vector, the distal pressure happens, you have surface area, and you're fighting yourself.
It's giving up a whole, what is it, proprioceptive map.
Right.
It's like, it's a whole new, it's a whole new, map. And it's also a commitment to a different kind of engagement.
Yeah.
Because the most conventional one would be like this, and they'll be very conventional.
Yeah.
So when we do this, and so I get past the first thing, and I go like this. So
now the pressure.
Yeah.
So don't change the shape. Don't try to weasel out of it. Right? You got there, and until this moment, everything was fine. So a shape almost exactly like this was perfect.
Right.
So you don't have to change the shape. There you go. You just change that centripetal engagement.
So when I'm changing the centripetal engagement, what I'm changing, like retroactively, is my commitment to how I am in the world. That's really what's happening. Because if we're like this, and I have that thing. So right now, in order for me just to do this, I have to have a different kind of consciousness.
Right.
And that to me that's the key thing.
Right.
Because otherwise, when we get like this, then my thing is, oh, I've got him pushing. Now I'll just push him over the edge of the cliff. Right. Right. So there has to be a different kind of consciousness. Right. To make it even. Yeah. Worth doing.
And this is now if you read the Tao Te Ching, but the idea of not doing, You know, that the line, "I am the wilderness before the dawn," kind of thing. This, you know, ability to stay in that point where you're not fighting anything. That non-conflicting, non-confrontational point, and all you are doing is getting good at maintaining your own connection to the earth, your own balance.
That's what I was trying to say earlier about falling through the holes.
Oh, okay.
Which is like not falling through the holes, which is like walking like through the edges around the holes. And which is, to me, which is this. So if we're doing this and I go like this, then I'm falling through the hole.
Yeah.
I'm falling through the hole. If it's more, however, then I'm walking around the holes.
Yeah.
Right? And when I'm like this and I want to go, oh, now I got you, right? That's falling through the hole. So I guess falling through the hole is like the change in consciousness. The change in consciousness, not just awareness, but in consciousness. So conscious meaning the intent, the deeper intent, the intent you don't even know about until you're right there and you say, oh, was I really going to kill him?
Yeah.
You know, was it really, who knew? Right?
Who knew? Yes.
Right? So, like my thing with I was just so angry. And one time I was just so enraged. I saw this cartoon balloon over my head that said, and this is why we don't allow firearms in the home.
That's true.
So there has to be enough of that consciousness so that you never want to get to that place where you're doing that.
Yeah. Because this is, you are at war, with nothing except your own nature.
Yeah.
Right. So to end that battle is to end all battles. Right? But it's that conflict that you have, that internal conflict that requires you to have conflict, requires you to have a battle outside.
Yeah.
And if you can resolve all of that conflict internally, then theoretically, so I'm told, that you have no conflict externally. So, sounds simple.
How hard could it be?
Yeah, exactly. How hard can it be? Step 1, achieve enlightenment. Step 2, I don't know.
So here's the thing. So even here, where we're just doing it slowly, and we know we're doing it slowly. I know you're not going to pull out a knife and put it in my throat. I still have this tension.
Right.
For what?
And
for absolutely what?
And people practice slowly, and they continue to do it without refining it because it's slow.
Yeah.
They don't have to refine it. So people doing push hands, and they'll do push hands for years, but they're always doing it within a particular level of intensity, a particular context. They never challenge themselves, so they never get honest feedback about whether or not they're balanced. So they'll be doing push hands, and there'll be a little bit of pressure all the time, when they should be going for no pressure.
Yeah.
But they don't understand that. They don't understand what pungjing is, what centripetal engagement is about. So they are constantly just going through the motions. And they say, I've been doing Tai Chi for 20 years. I should be able to fight by now. But have you actually practiced fighting? But are you actually training when you're doing it? When you were doing tuishou, when you're doing push hands, are you actually improving? And most people are not. Most people are talking about or thinking about something else, and they're not going deeply enough into themselves to realize, oh crap, I've got a lot of issues. Because you're working on a lot of stuff when you're doing this. And if you can treat the slowest, most gentle push hands exercise or solo exercise as a fight for your life, and imagine that you're on that razor's edge all the time, so that I would not be standing like this if I'm consciously doing it. I would have to be here, and I'm, it's a very intense focus.
Totally.
And you're refining minuscule, microscopic alignments in your mind and in your body, your thoughts, your emotion. The entire process is being refined at a very, very deep and profound level, unless you're just going through the motions. And if you're just going through the motions, well, if you just do the form, if you just go through the motions, and you do it enough, by the time you get through the first 20 or 30 minutes, you're starting to get some benefit. By the second hour, if you're doing really good training, you're making some big changes. But if you only practice for 15 minutes a day, at 15 minutes at a time, you're not going to get the same benefit. The training, you have to get to a certain level of intensity. You have to get to a certain level of depth. And you have to intimidate yourself to a certain amount in order to actually refine it and get the kind of biofeedback that you want. We say martial arts is a great form of biofeedback. Because if you're enlightened, you shouldn't actually get punched. Unless you want to. This is why you get these people who can just walk towards you with their fist out like this. And they're not making any discernible change in their fist, and yet you're blocking, and nothing's working, and they're just walking forward. Like that. So if you engage me like this, and you, oh no, you engage me, oh, see, keep engaging, that's it. No, that's too much to the side. Find that, there you go. And now just walk forward. There you go. And maintain that shape. Good. And so if you're practicing this with somebody, and if you go forward and I brace like this, that's fine, you can push me. That's because I'm making more error than you are. If I want you to get better, I have to make less error than you do. And then you have to find that balance point. So here, if you're looking at this from a technical point of view, there are so many things I should be able to do. But I can't, because if you're engaging properly, you negate every change I make. So any attempt to go to a different element, to a different shape, to move my arm, is countered by you changing the length of the needle. And changing the length of the needle is like having a machine gun that fires 1,000 rounds a second. It doesn't matter which way I go, there's always going to be a bullet there. Now there, I'm in. See that? So that now I'm not. Now I'm in. Now I'm not. So
what I need to become aware of is what's happening in my mind when I lose that needle. Am I thinking, okay, now I've got the needle, so now I've got I've got a second to just leave the planet for a moment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So instead of just staying there all the time without a break.
Right. Yes.
And so that to me that means that's the commitment to a different kind of consciousness.
Right. You have to have a quality, so there's nowhere to go.
There has to be a quality, because in conventional real life, you work on something, then you take a break, have a cup of coffee, blah, 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 blah. You're walking down the street and you say, oh, well, okay, the car didn't hit me, great. So what was I thinking about? Right? And all that. And so it's like stop, start, stop, start, stop, start, stop, start. And which is fine, but if there's a fist coming for your face, you can't just say, oh, wow, wait, hold on. Right?
We are fortunate in that the world tends to be very forgiving most of the time, except when it isn't.
Yeah.
And so for people to want to train, to do a martial art, to train, and to spend so much of their lives training for that one moment that they might experience when it isn't that forgiving. So people say, I've been doing martial arts for 30 years and I never got to use it. To which I say, you probably have been. If you've actually been practicing martial arts, then you have been using it. And the fact that you don't think you have is a testament to the fact that you have been. And even here, we live in one of the safest places, the safest times in history, and people are still freaked out. Why? Because people we don't know who don't look like us are coming to our country.
In caravans.
Yeah, and they want to be like us. It's an invasion. No, an invasion is when they want you to be like them. That's different. So, or to go away. They're not coming here and telling you to go away. They're coming here and saying, I want to be a friend. And you're going, oh, but I don't know you. So So this, I can put my hand over there, and you know it's not a threat. Right? You train and you refine your awareness so that you only engage the enemy when there is actually an enemy, and only when you need to engage them, and only in the way that is going to work for you, rather than engaging the enemy in a way that just makes more enemies. And yeah. So I can, if we're standing here like this, there's no fight going on. If and yet you're there, and then I can see that and make more fight, and then make myself vulnerable, and then make myself afraid, and then make myself tense up more, and then lash out and become more violent. And that's not the goal of a martial art any more than the goal of a doctor is to make people more sick. Right? The goal of a martial art is to make things more peaceful. And you start by making yourself more peaceful. And that is a far more intense practice than people think. You know, peace is not for wimps. No. You've really got to be on the ball. Violence is easy. All you have to do to become more violent is just not pay attention for a while. If you want peace, you have to be paying attention to all kinds of things and to be willing to look at things that you've never looked at before. So to be able to maintain or neutralize an attack, I have to have already become good at seeing conflict on a microscopic level within my own mind, within my own body, so that I'm not fighting myself, and to be able to see those changes and understand them in you so that I can neutralize without fighting against the strongest part of you, and find the part of you eventually that just wants to not fight me.
So so what you said before about the part that doesn't want to fight. So when we're doing that, right, and I'm resisting, right, if I do majorly resist. So that's the part in me. That's the part in me that can't let go. They can't let go, and is trying essentially to do this. And I would do that because on some level in that instant, I don't think I can fold,
right,
and move, and morph.
Right.
So at that moment I lose. That moment I lose.
Right. That's fear, which is the opposite of confidence. Opposite of so if you're confident, then confidence and compassion. So love, is extremely confident, and then fear sort of gets in the way of that when you go, I don't know. She loves me. She loves me not. She loves me not. That kind of thing, and
always choose the right daisy.
Always choose the right daisy.
That's the moral of that story.
Yeah, and okay, that's not bad, because what you want to do is have this quality where you are always the right daisy.
Always the right daisy. Right.
So you always have the right number of petals, so that it doesn't matter what the other person does, they're always going to end up loving you. Yeah. And if you want to be able to really effectively kick the snot out of somebody, it helps to love them unconditionally.
Perfect.
So that means that the slightest thought, the little conflicts that build up in yourself that create this sort of thing.
Exactly. Exactly. It's like there's like some people in their knee, they have little chips of bone, and everything is fine. They can go for years, and then all of a sudden, it just the little chip goes just into the wrong part of the joint, and they're crippled.
Right.
And then they can fall down the stairs, and it's perfect again. Just got knocked out. But it's like, so we're doing this. There's a little chip. Right?
Yeah.
And they're just circulating.
Yeah.
They're just circulating, waiting for.
So that's it. So that was a spontaneous response where you lost it, but then you found it again, found the ground. So that's it.